This is the greatest soda. Canada Dry fruit soda.
People have very strong feelings about ginger ale. Like Verner's people.
Yeah, we're at Verner's house.
Hello, everybody, and welcome into another exciting episode of Bloody Good Horror. My name's Eric, and I'll be your host for this evening, where we will be reviewing Cuckoo. And by reviewing, I mean Rachel will be explaining it to me. We're going to do that shortly here. But first up, joining me from Manhattan, New York City. Look out, ladies. If you have a dad fetish, he's peak dad right now. It's honestly doing it for me, so I can't imagine.
Step aside, Tim Walls. Step aside.
Please welcome John Schnars to the show.
Hey.
Like, you look like you just, fed a baby a bottle and dropped your kid off at practice. Like, it's kind of working for me, John.
I mean, if they would just go to sleep, be really living it up.
Next up this evening from the cornfields of Indiana, please welcome Casey to the show.
Hello.
And last up tonight from the poop-filled streets of Oakland, California, please welcome Rachel.
Who says we don't have culture?
Just poop just overflowing. Just a river of shit all the time.
Wow. I can't wait for you to come visit. We're gonna have
That's what
so
JD
much
Vance
fun.
told me anyway. So.
Yeah.
Okay. You man, if I'm telling you, if you were not watching the pre-show before this, you missed out. That's all I'm gonna say. Patreon.com/bloodygoodhorror.
I'm spent. We should just pack it in.
I mean, we did kind of peak.
All right, let's take a quick break so that we can review Cuckoo.
This is it, Jennifer. Your big break in TV. From the prime time. Main feature.
You know what I did today, John?
Mm-hmm.
I wore sweatpants all day.
Oh. Look at you.
I have this pair of Jason Live sweatpants. I'm sure you do too. I know that's your favorite.
Who doesn't?
I got them a size up. I don't know where they're from. I would have to look even to tell you where they're from. One of these zillion companies that makes this shit. But I got it a size up, and they legit fit like hammer pants. Like, it's like wearing a cloud.
I wear usually XL sweatpants because I love a very roomy sweat.
It's the height of luxury and self-care.
No, I buy that.
I just have visions of Eric walking around his apartment with them pulled up under his nipples.
No, the waist is good. It's just they're just then they just flare. They're just big and it's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
That was for me, John. That was just for me.
You do it. You do you.
I love it.
All right, John. Speaking of just for me, please bring us the word of the day.
Eric, today's word is cuckold. That is C-U-C-K-H-O-L-D. Cuckold. Actually, Wikipedia is telling me it's C-U-C-K-O-L-D. Cuckold. I don't know. I thought it was hold. In any event, and I'm going to read from Wikipedia because I wasn't getting a real legit dictionary definition.
You gotta hurry because I'm holding back so many jokes I shouldn't say.
I know.
No. Here we go.
You get 2 wild cards sitting here, John. You gotta fill the space.
Okay. So hold on. It was because I misspelled it. A man whose wife is sexually unfaithful, regarded as an object of derision. That's the noun form, and as a verb of a man. To cuckold by having sexual relationship with his wife. The origin is from the Old French word cuckoo.
I did learn that on the internet this week, that the two things it makes sense, I guess. The two things are related.
Yeah, it's, it's true. It's like the French word for the bird, the cuckoo bird, is what gives us cuckold.
The cuckoo for cuckold puffs?
I didn't realize how gendered it was. Like, you can't be like a lady cook.
I'm positive that exists. It probably is different.
I think that's a thing.
Okay.
I mean,
hope so.
technically, no. Like it is. You're right. It has become very gender, but at least by like
That
this.
ver-
Well, I
strict
mean,
that
based
ter-
on
that
your
specific-
definition.
That
Yeah.
specific term, yes.
And that's the only. I mean, like as you know. I mean, Eric, I know you want to riff on cuckold now, but
best
that's
I
it. I've only ever heard a man like even before it became like a fucking internet word that Republicans use.
Well, it was
use
big. It was a
willy-nilly.
It was in a Shakespeare.
Yeah. Oh, but that's why it goes way back for sure.
Yeah. All right, John. I can't imagine how you would explain what that has to do with this movie, because it involves like just getting to the last act and explaining everything that happens. So
Well, I mean,
I guess
look,
we can just wait. But it's called Cuckoo. How's that?
the movie's called.
But it's also
Cuckoo.
thematic. The word cuckoo is also thematic to what happens.
Yeah, I mean,
way.
look, the movie's called Cuckoo. Cuckoo, and spelled like the bird. Like cuckoo birds are like a real thing, and they. What's interesting, I was reading this earlier.
Science.
Yeah, no, I mean, not
Like mermaids and
there-
Bigfoot.
there's a thing that if people know about cuckoos, the thing they know is that they lay their eggs in other birds' nests, right? They are nest cuckolds. There's like a term for this in the science, but it's not all cuckoos that do it, but it is it's like some high percentage of cuckoo species perform the cuckolding behavior.
Yeah, you have to look for the cuckoo's nest that have the little pineapples.
Yeah. Oh, they're upside down though.
Yeah, upside down pineapples.
Yeah.
The so
That's
you know
pretty
it's
good.
funny, the road runners are actually in the same family as the cuckoos, according to Wikipedia.
Love
Are
it.
they like nest cuckolds too, or
No, they don't do the nesting situation.
John, tell me about this movie.
So Cuckoo comes to us from director whose name I just conveniently clicked away from.
Tillman Singer?
Yes, Tillman Singer, who is at least best known to me as the director of Lose, the film Lose. I think 2018. I was going to say 17, but 2018 Lose. Wrote, directed both that film. That was his most recent film before Cuckoo as a director and as a writer, it turns out. Stars Hunter Schafer as a 17-year-old who is with her family moving to remote alpine like resort, quote unquote, where Dan Stevens runs like a very kind of interesting, it's like a throwback sort of like 70s vintage era setup. It's fancy, but not like overly fancy. Her parents are both moving there, and I should say it's her father and her stepmother. She has a younger sister who has a disability that makes her unable to speak. She can like hear, but she's not able to speak. I don't know. Rachel's smiling. That maybe it would in any event.
You're good.
Her Hunter's character, her mother has just died, and so she's now like sort of newly living with the father and the stepmother. So she's not only been displaced from her home in America and like her mother, but now is like completely uprooted and living in this like very strange place in Germany. There's like lots of weird
Weird shit
behavioral-
happens for 40 minutes.
Yeah, like
Oh,
Dan Stevens just like says weird shit to people. He immediately hires her to work at the front desk, which she's excited about. But then like people are chasing her in the night, and she's like people are walking into the lobby and starting to vomit. Like
I totally forgot.
randomly.
I had a next level bizarre theater experience, but I'm going to save it. I'll save it for after the review.
Oh yeah, you did mention that. So yeah, I mean, so like lots of weird shit happens, and slowly. What is Hunter Schafer's character's name? I'm sorry, I'm not looking at it.
Gretchen.
Gretchen. Slowly, yeah, because they make there's some funniness about how he says Gretchen, Dan Stevens, in his German accent.
Herr Koenig.
Yeah, Koenig.
We got to address John, every time we do a Dan Stevens movie, just the sheer volume of horniness for him out there on the internet.
Yeah.
I mean, in this room.
Well,
Sure.
People,
I was like-
people just down bad over this guy, and I get it. Like he's got that wonderful combination of really handsome and crazy eyes.
Yeah, I also think there's like he seems approachable in a way that some of our other,
Oh,
hunky
He's
stars.
like an everyman.
Yeah, there's an everyman quality to
I
him.
like it.
I don't know.
He's
Maybe that's just me.
undeniably hunky, but he has chosen to become a character actor instead and just have the best time. Like nobody's living life better than
Right, he's
Dan
not
Stevens.
taking.
yeah.
He's not taking hunk roles. He's taking like fun roles. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
True. Like the one, what was it? The most recent Kong, where
Yeah.
he just plays like
Yeah.
the fucking
he the
vet or
doctor?
whatever. Yeah.
He's
the
his name's
doctor,
like
right?
Ripper or Trapper.
He
or
gets
some
to
shit
he
like
gets
that.
to fly in just to deliver the line. Thank
Yeah.
God we made an arm that's also for the right arm.
Yeah.
And sometimes he feels fancy and does stuff like Downton Abbey.
There you go.
I had no idea that's where he came from because I've never
Yeah.
seen that show.
Cousin Matthew. That's
I
where
read
all the
that
baby
on the
boners
internet.
began.
Is he British?
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, that makes him hotter. Unfortunately,
Well, did you think he was German?
I thought he was American. I've
Oh.
largely seen him in roles where he has like an American accent.
Yeah. So I don't know, like where to advance this without going all
I
the
think
way
we
into
should just-
spoilers.
I'll start talking about it.
Yeah, we can. Let's just stop there. Weird shit.
It gets weird. She eventually figures out kind of what's going on, and then it gets weirder, and then at the end.
The movie's kind of over at that point.
Yeah. All right, Casey, what'd you think?
I dug this. I wasn't. It wasn't what I had prepared in my head from watching the trailer. I just kind of expected something more kooky and stuff. But this is actually more of like a sleeper that's kind of slowly builds. It's a slow burner, and I was kind of surprised. I was disoriented. I felt at first, which may have been, partially on purpose. But then as this grew, I find myself getting drawn into it, into this story that's going on. I don't fully understand it, but it's got a certain pace and a rhythm to it that I appreciate. That you, especially coming out in the summer, it's not your typical summer type movie. It's not explosions and crazy frenetic stuff and whatnot, and that's what I think makes it even more chilling. And then as it starts to unfold into the real wackiness, for me, it kind of turns into, it's got a sci-fi flair to it with some horror wrapped around it, which I always appreciate. And I just thought it was a neat little flick. And I am a big member of the Dan Stevens fan club, so I was all for it.
John.
Yeah,
Or- Sorry, I normally go to Rachel next. I don't know what happened.
No, go
she
for
can.
it, John.
No, that's fine. She can bring some.
No
I
pressure.
liked, and I ended up being a little left cold at times by this. It is it sort of like went further into sci-fi than I was expecting, and I guess if I had to put my finger on the thing that was leaving me a little cold, like I feel like it actually is trying to do too much from a sort of like narrative and especially on like the sci-fi. Like this is one of those movies where I actually feel like they explain to you almost every single piece of the science fiction in a
Yeah.
way that's like not super duper helpful. I could have used less. Like this movie does have a whiff of the Cronenbergianness to it, right? Like
It does,
there's
actually,
some weird body horror-ish stuff. There's like humans that are very, or I should say not human looking, right? And a lot of it is, hung on this central performance, Hunter as Gretchen, which I think worked. Like it worked for me. Like I liked the performance. It just, I don't know. Like I felt like there was a lot of explaining happening. There's also this like weird thing with the detective and sort of his role and the way it sort of like waxes and wanes at different times. And he seems to survive like multiple times when I thought he was dead. So I don't know. I liked it. I feel like there's like a tighter version of it for me that I would have liked better, is where I land.
Rachel.
Fair. Yeah, this is one I watched twice. And again, I'm a big fan of watching these things twice because I feel like, especially when they're strange as this one is, it really helps me to go back and like see all of the breadcrumbs that are laid. And I really felt like I got even more out of it a second time. But even before that, this movie is so weird. And I say that as the highest praise. For a movie like this to get made, let alone get a wide release in summer, is just really cool to me. Like, screw Brat Summer, we're having
Yeah,
Weirdo
I mean,
Summer.
you're talking about that A24 neon vibe, right? Like that we keep.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we
It's
got
at
this
least
a month
something
after
different.
Long Legs. You know what I mean? Like, this is our people we have come. This is our moment to shine. I
weirdos.
also love how quietly subversive the casting of Hunter Schafer in this is. Like, it's a film that is ultimately about bodily autonomy and reproductive rights. And I don't know if there's one group that is under more scrutiny and being demonized over their reproductive organs, it is trans people. So I think on one hand, it's like this insanely, awesomely affirming choice to cast her in this role, but also is kind of this rad solidarity moment between like two like highly politicized and policed groups. So, I mean, that in and of itself made me love this movie. And I just love Hunter Schafer so much. I think she is incredible in this. Like, she plays this like disaffected teenager, which is easily the most annoying archetype you can be, but she has such innate charisma that you follow along with Gretchen, are invested in her, and like really feel the beats, the emotional beats of what she's going through, whether it be essentially kind of a cuckoo herself inside this family by a father that's essentially left her behind, or her relationship stuff, or the grief stuff. All of that stuff really landed for me. We've already talked about him a little bit, but Dan Stevens, to me in this, like, whenever I know he's in a genre movie, I'm guaranteed that at least when he's on screen, I'm going to be having a great time. He could be a hunk. He chooses not to be. That's freaking dope. Makes him way more interesting and way sexier.
Ironically, makes him hunkier.
Yeah, he is like dopamine on legs, but he also has like he can be super super charming 1 second, and then the light drains out of his eyes in a way that is so sinister that he's like the ultimate horror honeypot. So he is great in this.
My dream for the rest of my life is to have just one person describe me as dopamine on legs.
I thought you were going to say horror honeypot is what you wanted to be called, but you know.
Why choose when you could have
Yeah,
both?
you could be both.
But yeah, I mean, I thought it hit some really interesting ideas. Like I said, bodily autonomy, like megalomania, and like of the super wealthy and the way that they feel that they have like they're entitled to our bodies and our choices. The cost of like marginalized people cozying up to their oppressors. Like, there's a lot of interesting ideas here. But what I really appreciate is in this era where every single horror movie feels like a meditation on grief and is a fucking bummer, the camp, the absurdity, the fun that is in this
There's
movie.
some pretty funny moments for sure.
Yes, but it's also done with like intelligence, craftsmanship, and like thematic bite. So I don't know. I'm gonna be the president of the fan club of this movie tonight, I think.
Yeah,
But
nobody's
I
cracking
love
jokes.
this.
It's more like Hunter Schafer like
yeah.
deadpan reacting to insane things is where a lot of the
Yeah.
comedy from.
Like when he
comes from,
shows
for
up with
sure.
the flute and she's just like, "This is fucking weird, you guys."
Isn't that weird how he
Yeah.
said that?
Yeah.
So yeah, I loved it.
Or she's like, what did she say? That's a weird way to say that. I think that was a trailer moment.
It
too.
was in the trailer. A couple of
So-
the best moments in this movie are in the trailer, which I was somewhat
Yeah, for
annoyed
sure.
by. Yeah.
I changed my mind. I'm gonna tell this theater story quick now. So I go to the theater. I go to a matinee on Saturday. I sit down, and a couple sits down behind me. And like sometimes there's a subtle thing. Sometimes people talk during the trailers, and I think that's fine. I'm on my phone during the trailers. To me, that's not movie time. There's different rules, right? But sometimes people are talking during the trailers in a way that makes you realize they're not going to stop. It's impossible to describe what I mean by that. Like,
There's
get
a
more
momentum.
granular than
No,
that.
Yeah.
totally
But you
get it.
it's like a way of talking that like they're not considering anyone around them, and you're like, oh no, I don't think they know the rules. So I don't think they're going to stop. And they did not. And the way they were talking, it was like the husband or whatever, the guy in particular, was like a verbal processor. And so it wasn't even like he was coming in with zingers. He was just saying shit he was seeing. And that's like one of the most infuriating kind of movie talkers. I'll give you an example. So the scene where Hunter Schafer goes off the road in the car, she wakes up in the hospital and is in the room with the family and her sister. Mm-hmm. And there's like a quiet beat, and the guy behind me goes, "Now there's 2 daughters in the hospital." No laugh. The wife was like, "Uh-huh."
Rachel's America straight to jail.
Thank
Straight to
God,
jail.
honestly, like it was at least infrequently enough that I didn't have a long legs like panic attack situation. Like I did consider moving, but it was like mild enough that I'm like, whatever. So they chill out a little bit and they're like a little better. And right as that's happening, a guy 1 row down and like 8 seats over starts snoring. Like I look over, I can see him in the dark. He's fucking head this way, like sawing lumber, this dude. And I'm doing, I'm looking around, I'm like, are we, because at this point, this
who's
creates
going
a
to wake him up?
situation, right? Like we are all now in this together. And there's like a telepathic, silent conversation happening in the air of all of us being like, who's going to do it? Like, how are we going to do this? But I'm not, listen, since that shit happened with The Dark Knight where that kid like shot people in the theater, I don't say shit. I used to be like a loud asshole of people being loud. I don't
Eric,
say
that
shit.
was like 15 years ago, I think.
I don't
or
care,
longer.
John. Have things gotten better since then? Okay, point taken. So all of a sudden, though, the guy like 3 or 4 seats on my row down from me. So we're 1 row behind, right? It's stadium seating. So you got to think like the floor is kind of mid-back on the person in front. So the guy in my row gets up in a huff. He's like, God fucking damn it. He gets up, like audibly exclaims like that, stomps 3 seats down and goes like this. I'm going to enact this for the people on the show. You're only going to see it. This is why you need to be on Patreon. He stomps down and he goes like this behind the guy's head. Like that.
Yes!
Like all of his body weight with his foot, with his fucking like shit kicker boot, slams his foot on the ground like 3 inches behind the guy's head. And the guy goes like this. Like his whole body flew up in the air. Then the thing that shocked me, like he didn't say a word after that. So he either was so thoroughly embarrassed and shamed that he just crawled into himself, or he genuinely was so asleep he didn't know why he woke up. Like he could have thought it was a loud movie. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
Incredible.
but
If
you do
wanna
that to the wrong
know-
person, they're getting up and throwing hands. Like.
That being said, if you want to know the one way to guarantee I'll throw my underwear at you is police someone who's acting up in a movie theater. That is like my ultimate erogenous.
Oh, to be clear,
Okay.
you throwing your underwear is a good thing, is what you're saying.
yes, yes.
Really quick, because I don't want to take the whole show, but this
And
is
it's,
like
I'm offended that you didn't know that.
No. I caught up. Come on.
so that happens. Everything's chill for a while. We get to the 3rd act and we get to this really key scene, which we got to come back to later, where Dan Stevens is like giving us the key to all this. He's explaining it. I understood 20% of it. Partly, I understood 20% of it because while this conversation starts happening, the couple behind me fires up again. Out of nowhere, the guy goes, "Oh, shit." And she's like, "What?" And he goes, "I left the greens on the stove."
Oh, stop.
And she goes, I mean, they're right behind me. I can hear this clear as day. She's like, "What?" He's like, "Oh, no." Like, he's just going through full on, like, intrusive thoughts about his house burning down.
Holy
But
shit.
they don't get up right away. They just start talking about it for like 5 minutes. Like, he's like, "Yeah, oh man, I just ran out of the house. I totally forgot." He's like, this guy's losing his mind. The wife doesn't know what to do. He clearly is a very reactive person, and she just goes with him. So she's not saying like, "Let's leave," but he was like, "Oh." And then they get up with like 15 minutes left in the movie and they leave. And as he's walking out, he's just like, "We got to come back and see this again. I want to know how it ends." This was no offense to Cuckoo, which I enjoyed. This was so much more fascinating. I missed a couple minutes of Cuckoo.
I would have just been like, bro, you go fucking turn the stove off. I'm staying here to watch the end of this movie. Like, what do you, come on.
You know, like, why am I a part of this
Yeah.
decision, sir?
I just
No,
have
you
this.
made some
I have this
idiotic
feeling like these
decisions.
people don't get out that much, and this was
Yeah.
just a total fucking disaster. And like they're never leaving. That
And now
house
they're going
again.
to
Like,
pay to see Cuckoo twice. So,
I mean, I used to have these kinds of thoughts about like my iron, like I left my iron on or something, and would have to like they'd be so intense I'd have to leave work to go like check to see if I had unplugged the iron.
I have a really simple solution to that is just never use an iron. So
I haven't in
Look
years.
at this
unless,
innovation. This is
Yeah.
exciting.
unless someone
stuff.
dies or something, I'm not using an iron.
even then, I'm like,
You know what
yeah.
doesn't need an iron? Extra large size sweatpants.
Never.
Just-
Iron's never touched
I thought you were
me.
gonna say your
Exactly.
underwear.
All right. Anyway, I apologize for drilling us. Okay, so
Now I'm offended.
I am somewhere in the middle of everyone. It wasn't exactly what I was expecting. The trailer, I thought, hyped me up a little bit for something like real kick-ass, which is not what I guess I was expecting maybe more of a slasher, although maybe given it's neon, I should have just like expected it to be weirder than
Gonna
that.
be a weirdie. Yeah.
It's a really good sit though. Like, and I think it's a lot of it, like it's the cast. It's Dan Stevens, it's Hunter Schafer. It's this weird setting. Like
Yeah.
it's really beautiful,
very cool.
but the whole like layout of this thing is really creepy.
Shout out to the actor who played the dad, who's like another just like legend character
Yeah.
actor. I can't even remember his name. I'd have to look it up, but he's awesome.
Martin
I have
Kilsis.
many questions about the plot. I think it's a little overly confusing, more so than it needs to be. Given, of course, I was distracted a little bit, but I understand the basic idea. I also just kind of thought, I guess I get it. You know, we're going to spoil it here, but the idea of the species, right, is that they're sort of like a human adjacent or like human parallel, like sort of species that evolved in parallel. Like that's the whole idea with a cuckoo, right? A cuckoo is. I understand why this monster looks basically like a human, but it always strikes me as like uninteresting because I'm like, man, it's just like a lady who's going like, I'm like, all right, dude, like you gave her contacts, like congrats.
Yeah. Well, I do. That was one of my major things. Was like, I don't understand. Like they're trying to keep this species alive. So they give it a name. It's
Why?
Homo.
I went full stars in
cucadella.
this movie with like the Umbrella Corporation. Why do we need to keep this species alive? That's like clearly predatory. Like, what's
Thank
the
you.
gain
Good.
here?
Yeah. No. Exactly. Like, what are they hoping?
It's not
like-
explained.
it's a little like
Other than just
lost-ish,
movie mad
like
scientist.
Dharma Initiative ish.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah. So
which is what it is.
so like what I would say is like during the scene where he's explaining it, this movie almost completely lost me because I just wasn't that jazzed with the explanation. It wins me back in the finale where we've got the standoff. Because the standoff is fucking great. Where you've got Dan, what's his name? Stevens?
yeah.
Dan Stevens, Hunter Schafer, the monster, and
Steve
the
Danders.
And,
and the private
detective
eye guy.
Yeah.
Is that even? Do we even?
He
is
was
that
a police
really what he
officer
was?
who got thrown off the force.
Okay, but there's like in the building essentially like a very tense, very fun action standoff in the very end of the third act that to me brings it back around. And so I don't know. I enjoyed it a lot. It didn't blow me away, and I think it's a little rough plot wise, but
Eric,
it's
I
weird.
think you and I are like completely in sync here.
Okay.
Like I also enjoyed myself. I just
Yeah.
want to be clear.
Yeah.
But
It's
yeah.
weird and it's fun. I just like I was confused in a lot of it when I wish I wasn't, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I liked it a lot too, but I think I'm pretty close to you guys because I wanted to mention it earlier and forgot, but to like when John was saying parts of it kind of ran cold for him. To me it came across as muddy. There was just so much going on. It was kind of hard to track.
Well, and a lot because they get very, in my opinion, and I'm not trying to be a dick. Just to be clear, I'm not saying this to be a dick.
Here we
but
go.
I felt like it was over-explained. Like I wasn't confused because I felt like they were like over telling me what's going on. So you have this whole sequence, which I would say is very well shot and like put together, where Alma, who's the younger sister, is being like experimented on, and so they're like, you've got
I can
Hunter
tell you
Schafer and the detective on one side of like a one-way glass mirror looking at Alma, like watching what's going on and like understanding what's going on. So you get this like there's a bit of dramatic tension because then you also have the scientist basically like vocalizing what they're doing and talking about the species and yada yada yada, but like not knowing that they're on the other side. And then Dan Stevens comes in. I mean, that's where everything like kind of kicks off. And like that scene is very well put together, but it's like it's giving you a shitload of detail. It's like a long sequence, and there's a lot of detail. I feel like.
Here are my two specific questions that I don't understand. Are either of the parents of the two girls, well, like like Hunter Schafer and her sister, are either of them in cahoots with Dan Stevens?
I think Dad is. Dad definitely is because they
So-
you see her
Because
when
I
the
thought
mom
so
starts
too. Because
having
the movie
symptoms.
makes you think that they're being real cagey, but then in the
But yeah.
end, I feel like they're both reacting to the younger daughter being sick in a way that tells me they don't know that she is with the mother. Definitely does.
I took it as
The mother doesn't. The dad definitely does.
Yeah, I took
Definitely.
it as mom got puked on at some point, and Dan Stevens came to them and said, "Come live at this resort," because he wanted to keep the child close.
Now,
for
what I'll say is
experimentation.
that
No,
I'll buy your
It
interpretation.
happened on their honeymoon there.
Yeah,
happened on their
it happened on the
honeymoon.
honeymoon.
So
yeah.
I didn't
Gotcha.
put this together till I was talking to someone else about it. But that is the whole point of that. Like that suite is the like honeypot. Like
Right.
That's
Yeah.
why when the one employee is cleaning it, they get
The
accosted.
cop is like, "Get the."
But
hell
I
outta
didn't
here."
pick that up
Yeah.
during the movie. I literally had to have I had to have that kind of explained to me. I agree with you, Rachel, that I think the dad knows because it seems in the beginning, or throughout the whole thing, it seems like Dan Stevens is like turning the screws on him.
Yeah,
And also, he later when she starts having symptoms in the hospital because of, I'm assuming, another egg implantation, he takes her away from the hospital and like they've drugged her to take her away to like go process what's happened to her, and the dad is driving her home away from the hospital.
Oh, you think they re-implanted
Yes.
on the stepmom? Oh, interesting.
Yes.
All right. I didn't
Yes.
necessarily think that. I thought she was sort of like getting wise to the fact that something was going on, and rather than have her like, freak
could be.
out, they basically
But
like
either
sedated
way,
her.
Either way, the dad knows what's going on.
I've only.
I had another one.
I feel like the fact that you've seen it twice, I trust your judgment on. It was not immediately clear to me that the father was 100% aware, but
I think there's a lot that's not clear.
he's definitely like.
Can someone
they're
explain to me
chummy.
though the very beginning, like
So
a
the
child
very
was running away and then
beginning-
Hunter Schafer, like that part is totally mystifying.
That
to
girl
me.
at the beginning that runs away is the nestling we see later in the pool.
Yeah.
And the thing is when she ran away, she got out of the nest before they could get a new one in, which is why they needed Alma there. The mother is no longer controllable. That's why she's out running around acting crazy, is because they need to get her with another nestling. And so when they that's why Alma's there, and like they're having her be exposed to the
Wait a
mother.
second. Wait a second. You just said something to me that I never considered. That completely reframes the entire film. You're saying that the
Does that
child
count for
who
my square?
you're saying that this like feral one running around is doing that because of this child that runs away in the beginning?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
that she's the mother, and then that the adolescent that leaves in the first scene is one of her nestlings.
And she becomes like more feral
Yes,
later in
she's
the film.
controllable as long as she has a nestling. Because the thing with these is they like reclaim their children after they've gotten
Guys,
out of the nest.
I think this might be too complicated. I'm just gonna say.
I mean, here's the thing: is I think they were talking over. So to John's point, he's
I
like,
still don't
"Oh, the
understand.
scientists are explaining too much." But would you have understood the dynamic of the way that like being near the actual mother speeds up the physical changes if you hadn't heard that? I don't think. I think you needed to have that dialogue to
So
understand
my
why
re-
Alma is different.
Yeah, no, I guess, sorry, just to be clear, my real criticism is that it's like a little overly complicated. Like, I actually think they could have. You made a point about the film, and I agree, being like this powerful, like, story about bodily autonomy and like reproductive freedoms and so on and so forth. They could have achieved I think you get like 99% with it being like one or two ticks less complicated on exactly this part that's confusing Eric. Like this whole like the nestling, the guy Tillman, because he's the writer director. Also interesting to me, like how do we feel about a man having to like write and direct a movie about female bodily autonomy? I don't know. Like there's whatever, but
You mean like the vast majority of them?
yeah, no, sure, but he is clearly very fascinated with the cuckoo bird, right? He kind of like overdoes it to me in like following some of the like trying to pull in some of the like biological stuff around cuckoos, or or otherwise he's just like making it overly complicated. You know what I mean? Like it's not like the scenes are necessary because you're right. Like you would lose the thread at a certain point. But then I also go back, I reference like the way Cronenberg does some of this. I was like, you also just like don't explain shit to people and like, I don't know, let them figure it out later or not. It's
like in a movie this weird, you can go that route. You can choose to go that route, certainly. What are some like standout moments? Like I think you're right, John. A lot of them are in the trailer. The bike scene.
Bike scene.
I just love the way that's shot.
The way that scene is cut in the trailer, I thought was even better than the way it's cut in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Like they just like they kind of ruined it for me with the trailer version. But yeah,
I still got a little kind of chills though when she saw the shadow behind her going
That's
under the
real
light.
creepy.
That was a great shot.
totally. Yeah.
I loved all of the scene in the love nest. I thought that was really cool, and I love the way that the aesthetic of the love nest is so different than the ultra modern space.
Yeah.
So like it kind of like highlights this sort of theme of like this isn't necessarily it because it's so different. It almost you really get the feeling that it's like a habitat or like a breeding program as opposed to like it's like this. It's this very kitsch, very
setting a mood.
Yeah.
Yes, it has a very it's purposeful in the way that like animal habitats are to like set up a scenario where this breeding can take place. And I also just like the aesthetic of it. Like I think it looks
Yeah.
very, very different from the
a
rest of the
lovely
film.
place to stay. Rachel, let me ask, just because the one piece I didn't necessarily 100% put together, the other woman who's working the front desk, I forget her name. There's this sequence where she is trying
Trixie.
to lure Trixie is trying to Beatrix, right? And they call her Trixie. She's trying to lure the police officer, or like I think he is the police officer, right? There's like the guy who works for Dan Stevens, and then there's like this other police officer who shows up. She's trying to lure him into the love nest. Like that's right? Like that's
her boyfriend, the cop.
The
It's her
cop.
boyfriend that she goes on dates with, and she says to him like, "I clean up this fuck pad all the time. I want to use it." And so she's got him to come there so that they can hook up. And then he's like, "We need to get out of here because he knows what's going to happen."
But then later, Dan Stevens says we need to like proceed on Trixie or something like that.
Yeah, so he plans to use Trixie as like someone to breed with, and you see the cop's hand starts to shake. Like that's why the other guys, the former cop is able to get the upper hand on him, is because he's basically like, "We're going to use your girlfriend as one of these."
Yeah.
I
Okay.
don't think I understood this movie.
Yeah.
No, like that part, I just like I wasn't clear on like
I picked up
what like Trixie works
none of
there,
that.
but then is also like part of the breeding program. That's where I was like a
she's
little.
an employee, and I think
Yeah.
it's like one of those situations where they're like, now they like there's a scarcity issue because they've got
Yeah.
a
'Cause
couple
some
of
of
things
the-
happening with the mother and the nestlings. So
But like
They're
the cashiers, there was a couple cashiers that were vomiting or something, right?
they're
Aside
guests.
from just-
there were guests
guests.
who
Yeah,
stayed
okay.
in the love nest.
Gotcha.
So
It
this is
wasn't
back to-
necessarily a favorite scene of mine, but I freaking laughed out loud when Dan Stevens started controlling the teenage person with the recorder. That's fucking
Oh, yeah,
hilarious.
yeah.
Do-do-do-do-do-do.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just so weird. I love it.
But like
I love
what?
it.
So this is back to Eric's like the like macro question. It's like, what is Dan Stevens' end goal here? Like, he's like built
What's
this
his
like very
business model?
Well, I mean,
arcane
you got to think of
breeding
him as
district.
sort of like the Elon Musk of like conservation. You know what I mean? Like there is something profoundly egotistical, and he sees himself as the hero in this, and everybody
Yeah.
else, and they're
that.
and
I will
the way that
definitely agree with.
Yeah.
I mean,
He is
you
no
know,
different
Elon
than
Musk
Dr.
with his
Frankenstein.
obsession with reproduction, like it's kind of that kind. I think
Yeah.
that's sort of
But he's
So-
also kind of a Dr. Frankenstein
yeah.
character too.
When he goes, like when things like really hit the fan, why does he waste the other doctors? Because
I mean,
doesn't
he does
he's the one that
refer
he shoots them, right?
something- Yeah, well, he says something about them having recordings that they have kept underneath their stairs without him, like things I think they've gone off script and are doing their own thing, and he busts
Gotcha.
them for that, and then kills
Yeah.
them.
I like when that shit was happening. I was just like, well, he's really off the deep end now. Like it was like I couldn't even clock what exactly was upsetting him. But okay,
I think it was the betrayal, yeah, because then he's like, okay, and like shoots him.
Some people in the chat are talking about, and I agree with them, like in the end, the whole thread about her messages to her mother, which I didn't totally am I supposed to know what happened to the mother or just that
She's dead.
She gone.
She dead.
but that's ends up being a surprisingly emotional theme, like through line, especially in the end when she tells the sister that the mom got her message.
Yeah.
Like a pretty poignant, strong emotional moment.
I
with
think
her.
All
to
the
me
sister
that
stuff
helped.
landed for me. All of
Yeah.
it.
Well, like the recordings and stuff too. To me, it helped drive home how isolated and alone she is. You know, because her dad's not helping her, and she can't turn to her mom. She is stuck.
Yeah.
Well, and it's very clear. Maybe I don't think we know. Like, and this is argues for the dad being in cahoots. It's clear that Hunter was not anticipated as like part of this whole move. And so Dan Stevens, and then to some extent the father,
So why
are trying
is
to
she
like
there then?
Well, because the mom died.
Yeah,
Like,
she's like
she
a
was
teenager
living with
and
the
her mom
mom.
died.
Because
Yeah.
she was only 17, so she had to go live with her
So
dad.
she knew her mom was dead.
Yeah.
Yes. She's explain. You probably didn't hear it, but she explains that basically at one point she accidentally called after her mom had died.
Okay, I did.
Hearing her mom's voice.
Okay.
And so it's when she's like consoling the former cop about his wife dying.
Guys, I think I had
Well,
a comprehension problem in this movie.
Yeah, I mean,
I think you need a second watch. I think you're going to be on the same team as me.
you had a
Why
lot
did-
going on in that theater. Is the issue?
Yeah.
Oh, here's a question for
It's
you.
true,
Why
I
did
did.
they hide her mother's belongings from her?
I think because
didn't-
they knew she was going to react because he sold the house out from underneath her.
Yeah. He wasn't
Yeah.
hiding.
Oh, yeah, that's
necessarily.
right. That's right. Because
Yeah.
he sold the house. I forgot about that part.
She was sort of, I mean, and she tries multiple times to run away. Can we talk about, and this is like the one last piece. I don't know if there's a thing I didn't
We can talk about whatever you
misunderstand, but an open question I have. Ed, so we haven't talked about Ed. Ed is the person that Hunter Schafer, he's staying at the hotel. Hunter Schafer has like a tryst, like a very, like they kiss, they like make out a little bit. And then she's going to escape with her. Like Ed is basically like, I'll take you with me. She, there's this whole very small subplot about Hunter being into playing music. And like, she's like, oh, we'll go, whatever. We'll go play music together. At the very end, so then they get in this car accident. Ed is then in the hospital for most of the movie. But at the very end, the like last shot of the movie is them leaving together. There's like a weird shot of Ed like looking in the rearview mirror, but like with a bit of a, I don't know, questionable face expression going on. Was I just like overreading it at that point, or was she just like?
We had
I
a
didn't know if there was a
question-
little bit of like.
We had a question from somebody questioning just the age difference, the age gap between the two of them, considering they say Hunter Schafer 17 at some point.
I mean, it's Europe.
I hadn't really picked up on that. What'd you say?
It's Europe. She's French.
My
Sure.
response on Instagram was, I'm not going to Google consent laws in Europe, but I'm going to guess it's not great.
I mean, she's
I mean,
like
it's like-
17 and a half. And
I mean,
like
17 in
she's
yeah,
French,
in
it's
You can
fine.
say
US
that,
is, like,
Rachel. We cannot
mostly
say
fine.
that.
Yes, another privilege. Look at this. Look at it. Here I thought
No, but like,
Yes.
aren't like most of the consent laws still like below 18? She's
In a
almost
lot of
18.
states,
They-
even it's 17.
Yeah.
I
you
think.
can
That's what
marry
I mean.
children in the United States. Like,
Yeah.
so she made out with a 20-year-old.
It just
Oh,
the
that
question
woman is
made
older.
me-
That-
the
hold on, that
question
woman's
made
older
me
than 20.
question if I should have a problem with it.
That character is like in her 30s, I would say, in the movie.
You think?
Ed, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
She's like
Someone
staying
Google the
in a random.
actor's age.
She's staying in like a random hotel by herself. That's
I don't know what to tell you. That's not. I don't know. I feel like I did shit like that.
I
when
do
was
lots of
young.
weird stuff.
I don't
by
know.
myself, John.
So
Well,
you live,
couldn't
though.
she be somebody they're luring into the love nest too, though? Because she's kind of a loner and.
So she was born in 86, the actress. So she is
That
38
makes you
years
38.
But she looks so. Oh no, I'm looking at the wrong person. I don't know. I mean, they just made out a little bit. Oh. You didn't make out with somebody older when you were like.
Yo, that-
17-year-old?
No.
Rachel, there's the
I
twice
would
your
have,
age limit. You're supposed to, you know,
Yeah.
draw the line, and I don't know.
Then me neither.
Yeah, it's more about availability
Rachel.
of older women wanting
No
to kiss
judge.
people.
Look, I'm not judging anything about this situation. Just to be clear, I was not
I just
the one
want to ask
asking
the
the
question.
question.
I'm just asking questions, John.
She was
that's all.
definitely older than 30, though. So,
Was she? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I didn't read it that way, but like, you know. it's-
Rachel, come on.
I don't know what to tell you. Like, I thought she seemed young. I don't know. I thought they were like fairly.
She's
close
young
in
at
age.
heart.
That's so funny. I really thought she was like early 20s. And I don't know. She smokes. It ages you. I don't fucking know, man.
Oh man,
They were like kissing and smoking in a way that you do not see that in movies anymore.
Yeah.
Not-
dude, the smoking. Oof, no, thank you.
oh,
Get that out of here.
I do want to throw in there. I love the look and the atmosphere of this movie. It's
Yeah.
It's, this whole movie itself is just kind of unique in the way it looks and feels. It does feel very much like a Euro movie. I think at times I'm probably wrong, and Joe Ferry's probably gonna roll his eyes, but I felt like a Giallo movie at times.
Oh, for sure. Like this
No,
had
I think
major
that
like
vibes
sort
there.
of like Suspiria formula.
You know,
vibes.
the
Yeah.
setting reminded me of A Cure for Wellness,
A little
which
bit.
is not set in the same place, but similarly kind of picturesque European. This is better than that. I'd watch this again. I'd watch that.
No, I think I liked what Tillman was bringing here. I mean, just
Yeah.
you know, even with the the questions aren't necessarily a bad thing. I've stated my criticisms. It's still a good watch, and it is constructed in a way that sort of keeps you engaged. I thought the cinematography was great. He gets great performances. I don't know, yeah. That movie Lose is fucking crazy. So I'm not surprised that this is like pretty weird too. This is a much, well, I don't know. The budget's probably like 10x or more what he was
Yeah.
working with,
Yeah.
but I think he does a great job. And you can like. I hope there's more at bats for him to come.
Yeah.
Oh, I think there will be.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not
because
worried,
I don't
but-
think that this did like amazing, but I think it did okay, and especially considering they didn't market the hell out of it like they did something like Long Legs. I think it did okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't actually looked. I also think this plays overseas probably better than like he's got people from Spain. Dan Steve, Ed is Spanish. That guy, the dad, I would have guessed he's German, but I actually don't
Is he
know.
like Greek? Maybe the
I don't
name
know.
has a lot of vowels in it.
He plays.
I bet
the,
this will pick up some on home video too, or when
Yeah.
it's streaming
Yeah.
and stuff.
The dad plays the bad guy in the first Equalizer movie, and he's like a real jacked killer dude. So good. Fun times. Big fan of that guy.
Would you recommend this movie, Casey?
Yes.
Rachel?
Hard yes.
John?
Do it.
I'm gonna be soft yes.
Grumble, grumble, grumble.
If there's a hard yes,
Trying to find
I'm
a couple
counterbalancing.
joke in there. I can't do it. I'm too tired. I'm gonna sure. I'm a soft yes too.
Spongy yes.
A flaccid yes.
real weak yes. Yeah. Flaccid yes. It's too easy.
Listen, John, I'm
I'll take
tired. It's
it.
been a long day. Okay, it happens to the best of us. All right, let's take a quick break and do some fan mail.
This is a fun one.
Send feedback to info@bloodygoodhorror.com.
I assume it's
or
the
on
last
Twitter
time you'll invite me
using
back after my behavior, but I had fun.
You're doing fine. I'm like barely
Back
holding it together
episodes
right now.
and much
Just
more.
so
doing
everyone-
really
Patreon.com/bloodygoodhorror.
We're back. John, tell me about these chuckleheads on the internet
Which ones?
who are kvetching about the alien timeline.
Oh, yes. Well, no. So here's the background. Alien Romulus coming up. I understand that this happens early in the Alien. I think
It
we
happens
were talking about it.
between Alien and Aliens.
Yeah. you referenced on the show last week that you found some like infographic that was like a timeline of all.
It was
the
coming from
alien-
like the official Alien account, and it was a story that they were like paying to promote the movie, and it was like it contained both Prometheus and
Yeah. So I was like, yeah, huh. I like maybe I'll find that, or I just like Googled like whatever alien canon timeline or something. Go into the first Reddit thread that pops up. What I was not prepared for was how much debate was happening in this fairly extensive Reddit thread. I mean,
well, you were on
whatever.
Reddit, John.
Sure, but I like Reddit for this type of thing. I actually find very useful and interesting. There is like a whole group of people who just like basically only treat the first 4 Alien. It's like Alien 1, 2, Aliens, Alien 3, Alien Resurrection. I believe are the only ones that they consider canon.
That's real dumb. is my
Well,
response
I'm
to
just
that.
telling you what the people on the internet said. Well, because then there's a whole group of people that are like, oh, well, the canon it starts with Prey, and then you've got like Predator. Like they lump all the Predator shit together with the
AVP,
alien shit.
AVP,
Yeah, well,
colon,
exactly.
Requiem, John. How about that?
Look, people can go back in the back catalog and find. I'm pretty sure I was like positive on both Alien versus Predator movies. So, you know,
I don't
here
know
we
about
are.
Requiem. I don't remember being positive on that one, but
the first
I mean,
one,
listen, like-
good times.
you don't have to like Prometheus and Covenant, but they're a part of the canon. Like it just is what it is. Like I think there's just a certain subsection of people that really don't like there being any explanation for the xenomorphs.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can choose to ignore it, but that doesn't mean it's not clearly part of the canon. Like Scott produced this film, and I'm
Yeah.
pretty positive there'll be like some kind of reference to those films, even if it's subtle. Rachel's
yeah.
seen it.
I know, Rachel, you're under embargo or no?
I mean, I'm not going to spoil it because I don't want to spoil it for you or the audience, but I would. It's all canon as far as this movie is concerned.
Nice.
Yay.
Yeah.
Nice. There's just like in the background, there's like a picture of David or whatever the hell his name is, like on the like wall of one of the ships. He's like,
Yeah, they
There's
bring back Lane's,
There's a
Don't-
reference to
don't tease me.
the word Prometheus.
They
in
bring
it,
back
for
Lane's
sure, and there's some
Henriksen
other
with-
things that I don't want to
Yeah.
spoil, but
If
like it's
Fassbender
very.
shows up, I'll.
I mean, like we almost got a requel that like knocked out 3 and 4, and never Prometheus and that other one never happened. But unfortunately, we did not get that. So,
What is coming in a requel?
so
what now?
Neil Blomkamp had
Right.
had like a requel planned for after 2 that would have like struck 3 and 4 from canon, but then Ridley Scott said no, I need to do Prometheus because I'm having issues around my own erectile dysfunction, and basically not like killed that film, which also, by the way,
I don't know, dude,
Prometheus
have you seen-
also killed the Mountains of Madness movie that we were going to get from Guillermo del Toro and
Interesting.
Tom Cruise. So I'm double butthurt about it, but we'll save that for the Alien episode if you have me back. But yeah, no, it's definitely still canon, and you can't, if you want to strike from canon, whatever, like be the change you want to see in the world, I guess. But as far as this movie, it absolutely is canon because there are direct references and there are visual references, which I won't spoil, to Prometheus. Yeah,
wait, so
There you go, John.
Prometheus comes like way before though the other
way
aliens.
before, because
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
the
yeah.
one. It's the founder of Weyland Yutani, so
Yeah.
it's way before.
Those movies, there was too much for me with those Prometheus and even Alien Covenant. I was like, I
mean,
feel like
Alien
I
Covenant
needed to
can
read
kiss
like
both of my
4
butt cheeks.
Wikipedia articles before I even
I've
watched
gone
it.
down. We were
Give me
chatting.
it all.
A bunch of us were chatting on Slack today about going down rabbit holes with the mythos and like because there's all kinds of stuff about deleted scenes and like previous versions of the script that had more information and like there's rabbit holes.
Have you
to go
ever
down to.
watched the deleted scenes for
Some of
Covenant?
them? Yes. Yeah.
They're interesting. Actually, I get why they were cut for like flow and
like,
pacing,
interesting
but
stuff
I
like-
actually think they needed them.
Like the whole language that David speaks to
Mm-hmm.
the engineer has translations that you don't get in the movie, but
Was
they're
he
in
speaking
older versions.
Mother?
What's that?
Is he speaking mother? Is that what he? Because like that's a thing in Romulus is like speaking.
Oh,
mother.
interesting. I don't think they name it, but they talk about. I've seen in the features like they basically the idea in Prometheus is that he's pieced together what he thinks the language might be they speak based on all the like earliest, most proto
okay. No, that's
human languages. But I'm just saying, like in that spaceship scene where they meet the engineer, he says things to him in a language that we don't get any translation for. But you can like go down the whole rabbit hole of like what he says and what the thing responds, and like it's great.
I don't know, guys. I'm pretty tired.
Hello, may I take your order?
Casey, you can hit up threads.
All right, we got a couple threads out there. Let's see here. I lost the tab. Apologies.
Oh no.
First up from Gru Gallery. What's the actor you love playing a crazy person? I love Tom Waits as Renfield in Bram Stoker's Dracula.
That's
That
a
is a
deep
good
cut.
Yeah.
What is the actual question?
What's the actor you love playing a crazy person?
I think I talked about it on the show, but I just watched the original Twister, and he's not like a straight crazy person, but what's his name? Who unfortunately died? Who's in Twister? Fuck, now I'm gonna forget his name.
Bill Paxton.
No. Even better, more famous from the master.
Sir.
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Ah.
The character that he's playing in Twister is just like he's the best.
I just watched Buckaroo Banzai again this weekend. I'll go with John Lithgow in that one. As
He's always good.
Yeah, he's awesome. Or the Trinity Killer. Not manic, but he's
Oh,
terrifying.
He's scary. Yeah.
John
He
Lithgow's
is
always
great. He is great in that season of Dexter.
Oh yeah, that's where it peaked.
Yeah.
To the point where they like just kept trying to recreate that magic with other like
Shoulda
guest
just.
Yeah.
bad guys, and it just didn't work.
How are you feeling about the new prequel series? Hopeful?
I never even
or
watched the first
cynical?
prequel series or the whatever. No, the sequel
That was
series.
sequel. So this is the prequel.
Yeah.
How was
He's
that?
like but there's the new one.
Rachel,
where he's
I'm
like a
busy
teen.
watching The Valley.
They burned
Not
me.
anymore. Now you're free.
I did go back. I decided to go back to House of the Dragon. I watched season 1, episode 6 last night. It's right after the time jump. Yeah, I think I'm gonna keep going.
my Emma D'Arcy lady boner is so big. I don't care. About
She
Time
is
Jump.
pretty good. I didn't love the. I also loved the young actress that they had playing Raina. So it's just like it's so weird that they had to start that show with like 5 episodes of like warp speed time jumping. It's like crazy.
Yeah.
So I just couldn't get my footing. I've heard it kind of settles down after you're through that first chunk, but it's just a bizarre way to like start a series.
Yeah.
It's
I
not
mean,
Game of Thrones.
I think you'll
but
get there.
it's
I think you'll
okay.
get there. It's good. Like I said on our various voice memos today, it's a little frustrating, but it's good.
I'm gonna wait, and if it ends appropriately, then maybe I'll go back and watch it.
Yeah,
That's
no, I'm
really
trying not
smart.
to get too emotionally involved.
Yeah.
No, I won't do it again. I can't.
I know what Casey's thinking about right now.
I also think like it's fun. You know, the original series is fun because you've got all the different houses and personalities, and everybody's got different colored hair and the colors. Like this is all Targaryen, so it's just like, oh, this blonde person, oh, this blonde person, oh, this blonde person. Like there's a little bit of other kinds of people, but it's like I don't know, it's not as visually diverse.
I'm here for them. The blondes.
All right. We like blondes. How about popcorn buckets? Roger.Lee asks, how do you feel about the boom of popcorn buckets? The alien ones are cool, but $30 to $50 keeps me away.
What?
Rachel just dropped hers live on stream. Was that
Rachel
the
was trying to
xenomorph?
show off her popcorn bucket, and now it might be broken.
Go ahead, you can get it.
I hope it's not broken.
It's fine. Just enjoy my Scream one instead.
Was that the xenomorph one
Yes.
you just dropped? Yeah.
It
I'm
is
cool
the
with it.
most
I don't know. Is
phallic
that
thing
how
I
much they
own.
cost the theater? $30?
Slimer only cost me 20.
20
Slimer's
for a thing that's cool on a shelf. I'll buy 20. I don't know about 30.
I
It's the
don't
perfect
have
place
the
to put
room
my
for this
wallet
kind of
and
shit.
keys.
Like
in
I don't know
my
about 30 for
house.
something that some dingus can like 3D print in his basement.
Yeah.
The sandworm one was genius.
Amazing.
Like
Yeah.
that was fucking.
I didn't have
genius.
time to read it because I was really busy the other day. But some site did like a deep dive article on the sandworm thing, and all I read was the preview that was basically like this thing people saw this final thing for months and not a single person. It was basically like, this is a warning why you need to have Gen Z people in your company. They're like, literally just no one had any idea in that company that it was going to be like that.
I don't know. There's been a lot of bad marketing decisions recently that.
But it ended up being a brilliant marketing decision, just not
Totally.
in the way they would have hoped, I think.
Yeah.
I saw I saw a reel today on Instagram, somebody taking the xenomorph thing, and they're just holding it up, and then the camera zooms down, and they show the Wolverine bucket with the open mouth, and they go, and they like lower the head into the
Wait. So that is super phallic. It's crazy. Where does the popcorn go?
It goes in the head.
Yeah, but like
Is it open?
oh, I see.
Well, that's the thing about all the Geiger stuff, John, or the Giger stuff. Like it was all phallic. Like
Yeah. I mean, I'm not
I've been looking. This is
surprised.
a side note. and then we
Boner
move on.
City.
I've been
No, tell us
wanting.
about phalluses, Eric.
I've been wanting to get a face hugger tattoo. Okay, and so I've been doing research for references. So like I'm looking at shots from the movies, but I'm also looking at tattoos. And what I realized is, so there's a face hugger, right? It's got the arms and it's got the like head and some like little hands, but then like on the back bottom of its body, it has two like flap looking things that
like
straight
hair
up
bladders.
look like testicles. Like,
Have you looked at the other side of one recently?
no, I don't want to see it. No, I know. But what I'm saying is like, and on the actual monster design in the movies, they kind of just look like sort of grabber flaps or something. But when you look at it in flat, on like a flat card, like
Yeah.
a traditional tattoo style image, they just look like balls. And it's totally put me off of it. I'm like, I haven't seen a single facehugger tattoo that doesn't look like it has just honking balls on it.
I think you got to go like cute face hugger that's like running, like in profile or something, like side profile face hugger.
So, right.
Yeah.
You
not
got to go
gripping.
baller and get it on your
Yeah.
face.
There you go.
That's a good point.
And wrap a tail around your neck. It'd be perfect.
Because the instinct when you do that, if you're going to do that, though, is to have it like grabbing
Wrap around
something. Like
something.
Yeah, no. I would get like cute face hugger and profile. That's my make them
Honestly-
like whimsical.
Brilliant, John.
Honestly,
I'm
my
here for all
first
your
thought would be
tattoo
like
things.
an arm wrap tattoo with the tail wrapped around my arm, and then the
That'd be pretty cool.
Just a couple of testes right up on
Yeah.
your bicep. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. There's some
hanging off
angles
the back
that
of my
are,
elbow.
there's definitely some angles that are less testicle-like, but yeah,
Yeah.
that's basically what they are.
So they have one at the Pop Culture Museum in Seattle. They have one and it has like a mirror underneath. It is so clinical. It
Like
has a,
literally, they have veins on the balls. Like it's like
yeah. Oh, it is just like a whole
I wish I could put this
variety
in the
pack
chat.
of genitals, because then on the other side it's like full like labia minora, majora, and then also the
Totally.
proboscis thing is yeah.
Maybe maybe just do the underside, Eric. Like, just do one sunning itself on its
It will
back.
distract you from the balls. When you see the rest, you will be distracted from the balls. It's like dazzle camouflage for balls.
I'm seeing a couple angles that obscure the balls. Maybe that's the way to go.
Oh, good.
Classy.
Maybe you just got to
like
go xenomorph.
I mean, I want to again point out that there are issues with the xenomorph
Oh my god.
for what it's worth.
Good lord. Yeah.
All right, one more thread. Popcorn Designs. Did you ever have to move or change schools as a kid? I didn't move, but went to a new school in 6th grade where I knew no one, which was a rough way to start middle school.
Man, I didn't. I never had to move as a kid. I think my parents moved to a different house in the same town when I was like 2. I don't really remember. That always struck me as like that's got to be like the hardest thing as a kid, especially middle school, high school. Like I can't imagine.
Yeah, I
Well, the
never moved either.
older you get, the worse. I changed schools in 4th grade because we had 3 elementary schools in my school district, and then they added a 4th. So like
Everybody got
basically,
spread out.
well, they basically like rezoned everyone. So I ended up like at the new school with probably 15% of kids that I had been at my previous school with, but none of my friends. And like it was crazy because all my friends who lived literally like a block away still got to go to the old school.
Oh man, you
And
got
so, like, we would,
gerrymandered.
yeah, we would hang after school and it was fine. But it ended up being like this secret blessing because then when I went to middle school 2 years later, I knew
You
like
knew more kids
twice
than
as many
everyone else.
people as everyone else. Yeah, so it was like
Wow.
it was a good time. And the school was brand new when we moved in. It was great. If you've never gotten to go to like a really nice new school, would recommend.
That's what's going on in our neighborhood. Our neighborhood's been gerrymandered for the school districts, and there's a new elementary school about every 2-3 years.
Well, it happened. Like you get these areas that start blowing up, and then they have
Yep.
to start adding elementary schools, and it's just like, somebody's got to go to the new school.
How about you, Rachel? You're suspiciously quiet over there.
Yeah, I did have to go to a new school. I had to go to a new school my sophomore year of high school because I had been expelled for unchristian-like conduct from my private school.
Go
And it
on.
was huge
I've often
culture
described you as
shock.
unchristian, so
I mean, I don't. It was.
I'm kidding,
But
I'm
like, I wasn't getting a lot of mommy and daddy love, and I was acting out. We'll just say that. But like, it was definitely culture shock because I went from like a private school where I knew like literally, it's like a small town.
Yeah.
Everyone, regardless of grade. My graduating class would have been 30.
tiny.
To a public school. It was definitely culture shock, and I mean, I made the best of it. But
I was gonna say you were like trying to act out, and they were just like, "Who's this normal lady walking around?"
I mean, yeah, like they had much bigger fish to fry than being
Yeah.
My
like,
graduating class was like
taking up for Satanism. And
Yeah. You're like,
something.
she's not very Christian-like, but neither are these other 300 students. over
Right.
here."
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I could tell you.
Maybe
were-
this is why I made out with someone when I was 17 that was quite a bit older.
can tell you
Maybe
were
it's
Was
all
it one
coming
of your
together
teachers?
tonight.
Just tell us.
Let's move forward. Let's just move on as a species and as a people.
Oh,
All right. We got some good stuff
Hi, Mr.
on
Dalrymple.
Instagram. What is your favorite
We're gonna leave it. We'll leave
go-to?
it.
What is your favorite go-to non-horror genre?
Comedy.
Action.
Probably, yeah, action or sci-fi. Just
Sci-fi very horror adjacent in my
I
book.
don't think I have an
you know?
answer. I think for me it's horror and like everything else.
I like a good action film for sure. But I want it. But the thing is, I want it to be kind of hard. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you mean like a John Woo, like fucking hard boiled or something?
Or
Yeah.
like I
classic.
just watched Monkey Man for the first time a week ago.
I saw it streaming now, right?
Holy.
I'm
Yeah.
so excited to watch it.
Have you not seen it?
No, I
Yeah.
haven't seen it.
I've watched it.
John, you need to get your eyeballs on that as fast as
All
you
right.
possibly
That's
can.
good
It is-
stuff.
Like it is really, really influenced by Hong Kong action, but it
Yeah,
is.
no, believe me, it is not for lack of interest that I haven't seen it.
You are
I
gonna
am.
lose
That's
it.
gonna. I might
You're
watch
gonna
it
be throwing
tomorrow.
your underwear at the screen.
It's like my self care tomorrow is gonna be watching Monkey Man. So
no, you. I mean, it's dark, it's bleak, but it's unbelievable.
great. Did I talk about how I went to see Kill? Have you heard of this movie Kill?
I saw it's on streaming. I'm gonna watch it because of your recommendation.
I went to the theater and
You said
watched
it. Was
it.
nuts,
Dude, you're gonna love it. It's the weirdest
Yeah.
fucking action movie I've ever seen. It's great.
Okay. Okay.
It's very weird.
Oh my god! Text me after you watch Monkey Man. I want to hear what you think of it.
For sure.
It's funny that last time on BGH Slack, everybody got into going through and showing their percentages from Letterboxd on what genre and stuff they've been watching. Comedy actually outranked horror for me for this
Oh
year.
wow.
I love a comedy. I just find most of them are funny for like the first act and like lose steam. The
I
rare
watch a
comedy
lot
that
of the
keeps me
older
laughing
ones.
the whole time. Then I'm into it.
Yeah, I watch a lot of the older ones. Like, you set me down in front of Steve Martin's The Jerk, and I'm a happy man. I can watch it a million times.
Woof.
Okay.
All right. Michael, best horror movie with a Euphoria cast member. Scary stories to tell in the dark? Question mark. Who's in
Who's
that?
in that one?
Was
Was it
Zendaya in
Knockers?
that? Oh, is she in that?
No, I don't think. But
I have no idea.
scary stories. First of all, there's no way that's the one. It's fine, but that movie's not.
I don't recognize any of these people from Euphoria.
Zoe Coletti. I've never seen.
I've seen like 2 episodes
Euphoria.
of
I
Euphoria.
really liked Abigail. I don't know if it's my favorite though.
No, it's
Abigail's
definitely not
good.
mine.
Did
I
you
mean,
watch
I would put
Euphoria, Rachel?
Immaculate up there.
A little bit.
I like
Immaculate's really great. It's no First Omen, but it's pretty great.
interesting. Why is Dan
Maybe
Stevens?
this. Maybe this. I
Could
think
be.
this is. Or well, there's also Coleman Domingo. He's another lane we could go down. He's
Why, we already kind of
of
covered this. Why is Dan Stevens the perfect villain?
I think because he looks so disarming and hunky and can turn all of that off. in
He's
a
got
way.
an edge. Yeah.
Well,
he
he's a
can bring
freaking
out-
chameleon.
Yeah. This is from Zach. Why does Hunter Schafer stroke that lady's hair while they make out? To which I responded, haven't you heard of romance?
Have you never made out with a lady? The best part is the hair. Well, not the best.
I
part,
will,
one of the
but
best parts
she's
is the
doing
hair.
it while holding the cigarette, which was making me nervous.
cigarette is
Like,
where
the
I was
cigarette's
like,
very
this is-
close to the hair.
Yeah, I was like, this is a bridge too far for me.
That can cause fire, guys.
Well, I had that thought too. It's like, oh, her girlfriend's gonna be pissed that her hair smells like cigarette smoke for the rest of the night.
Well, she
Yeah.
probably smoked too, I'm sure, but like, yikes.
She invited her out for cigarettes. How it all
right, guys.
happened.
Exciting news here.
Hmm.
We have a bingo
Oh, wow.
from Levi.
Who's the winner?
This is so Whitney has put together these bingo cards for people who are watching the live stream. So if anything that happens during the pre-show or the show. BGH Bingo. YouTube chat is fire. I don't know how we parse that, but Casey
chat is
gives
fire.
daddy energy.
Mm-hmm.
John mentions his kids. John
Did I
likes,
mention my kids?
Yeah, when you got on. John likes the movie and Skizbot thread.
Hey.
Okay.
We also got the Eric character. These are just other ones he got. Spots he got. The Eric character. Rachel sexual innuendo.
Fuck.
Come on, that's too easy.
Rachel
What
likes
is
the
Eric?
movie.
What does Eric character entail? Like, I want to know, like, what?
I don't know if if
constitutes
the
a
name
win?
of the Eric character has to be invoked, or if that's just me being a pain in the ass. Which
Yeah,
is
well, that's what I was gonna say because that's also like, come on. It's, you showed up
Rachel
for
likes the
show.
movie. John is late. Rachel says
Well,
smart
I was
stuff.
not that late.
Casey
Wait, Rachel
vapes.
says what stuff?
Smart stuff.
Oh.
And then Casey vapes.
Yeah, come on.
That should be
Some of
the
these
free
are too
space,
easy.
to be honest.
Yeah. Free space.
Okay. Does the villain say Longlegs the way Longlegs says Cuckoo? I don't remember that happening in Longlegs, but that's
I mean, yeah, because he tells her about the common cuckoo when they're in the car together.
But, well, I think they're referencing in the movie Longlegs.
yeah. It
Nick
sounds like
Cage
he says the
says
word
cuckoo.
cuckoo at some point. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were saying, does he say cuckoo in the movie?
They're asking,
in
does
the
someone
way-
in this movie say
Longlegs.
Longlegs?
That would be weird.
That would be weird. Book of Dad. Did you know Spotify transcribes the show now? I just found out. I can read the podcast.
Apple does that as well. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, no.
Butts.
Yeah.
They also,
gonna be
what I was joking about
phalluses
was they
everywhere.
keep trying to sneak in. Now, when you go to post on Anchor, it auto selects turning comments on so people can leave comments on Spotify.
I know you hate that.
I fucking nicked that. I turned that shit off.
Mm-hmm.
No way.
Yep.
I don't want your comments unless they're
No.
praise and they're in the YouTube chat.
We're not strong enough for that.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I love this question from Industrial Fallout. Would you go to the Losers Tour? It's Corey Feldman opening for Limp Bizkit. John, this is a thing you couldn't know because you're not on the internet. But Rachel, are you on this algorithm? Because I definitely am. And I'm now following Corey Feldman, where he's giving daily updates, like on the road updates from this tour.
Does he still
it's-
have his weird cult of angels?
His weird ass band. And it's like daily these clips are going viral of how awful they are. And then all the comments are like, I can't get this out of my algorithm. Make it stop. Like, I don't want to see it. Like, all the comments are people like, I'm seeing this against my will. They keep going viral. It's insane. And then, but I've seen some clips of the Limp Bizkit performance too. They're having the time of their lives, dude. It looks amazing.
I'm pretty sure on our Slack, our friend Alyssa just posted that her dad worked that show last night.
Amazing. I ended up having a chat with our friend Joe too, who of course has seen Corey Feldman live and said it was like one of the worst concert experiences he's ever had. Not because it was bad or whatever, but he said the whole set he just stops mid-song and yells at his band and makes them start songs over.
That
Wasn't-
tracks. Yeah, that scans for me.
At one of the early horror hounds we went to, wasn't there a Corey playing music? Was that the same Corey?
Okay.
That was the other Corey.
I love this.
all right.
So yes, at one of the early horror rounds we went to, Corey Haim was there.
I think they were
And-
both there, weren't they?
No, it was
Corey
just Haim.
Feldman was there another year.
Oh, okay.
It was Corey Haim, and I remember everybody remarking like, because everybody like loved that he was there, right? Like everybody loves the Lost Boys, and like we're all horror fans. We all love '80s. He was just getting his ass like kissed up and down all day, and you've never seen anyone like so delighted with attention before. It was like he was just walking around like preening his feathers, right? So late at night, also at that convention was the guy who wrote the song in the end credits of the Lost Boys. He's not a very good musician, but he wrote that one song that horror fans love, and so he's just like his whole career is based off it, basically. So it's like "Cry Little Sister" or something. So at some point on like Saturday night, so if you remember, John, this was the year I brought a like video camera, and I went to bed early on Saturday night, and I handed it to you. Lewis Fowler was there. I basically gave him the camera. It's like, you guys go nuts. He got video of this. It was on our YouTube. I might still be there, but they're basically an impromptu like drum circle broke out.
Yep.
With that dude playing guitar, a bunch of rando like insane looking dudes playing bongos, and Corey Haim like rapping.
Yeah.
Oh my
I
god! How did that
left.
escalate?
And drunk horror fans standing around cheering him on like it's the greatest thing they've ever seen.
No, that was Lewis who started the Corey Haim, Corey Haim. And then he'd say, I say Corey, you say hey.
So I like woke up to all
Corey,
this the next day because I was sleeping like a baby in the hotel room. But like, yes, that did happen, and
That was Lewis leading the charge on the crowd cheering. It was a proud night. That's when he went up to make drinks in the room and came back with the, the green liquor.
Midori.
Yeah, the Midori sours for everybody on a tray.
Yeah, well, that's one we always joke about where everyone had a CPAP machine and I couldn't sleep. 'Cause they just heard dueling Darth Vaders all around me. No, thank you. All right. It's really, I can't, some people like it, that noise. I can't fucking, for someone who normally sleeps in complete silence, that was my living hell. I'm glad you guys can breathe, but it's not for me. The CPAP, not the breathing. I want you to breathe. Chris says, final question of the night, John. I was wondering if we can go back in time and you can put on your box office predictor hat. He would like to know what our guesses are for Alien Romulus this weekend. So, like, what's out right now? It's really probably fighting with... Well, so I don't know about you guys. Cuckoo played in one theater around here, which is very unusual for. Like,
no, well, it did not get. I know, Rachel. I think you said wide. It like was wide-ish. I don't think it went sort of like full.
But it wasn't limited.
No,
I
it
actually
was
go to a theater that I
1700
don't
screens.
normally
It was a
go
medium. It was a hardy medium.
So my expectations for Alien are pretty high. I would say it's rated R, right?
Yep.
I'm assuming this is like a
been pretty good.
What?
And like word of mouth, I think is going to give it a lift because the buzz has been good.
Yeah, no,
There
that's.
are
I was
some
going to say that
haters,
from
but
what I understand, like it's getting a lot of energy. I'll say 52 million.
Okay. I think Alien is one of those ones that if done and marketed right can just kill. Because I think just like a wide audience just loves some alien shit. And this definitely from the trailer gives the vibe of like, it's like gonna give you what you want.
Yeah, I mean, look, maybe 52 is like ridiculously high, but we'll see. There is a lot of marketing behind this thing. Like it is like everywhere right now. And there's one of the other reasons I'm optimistic is like there's nothing in the theater. I mean, this Blake Lively movie just did like bonkers numbers, and it's like not good apparently. So I don't know.
John, you missed the entire pre-show discussion on that movie, and when we cannot update you, you're gonna have to go back.
Is it a pro-domestic violence movie? Just to be clear,
Rachel? See, he doesn't get it either.
I saw the
That's where
trailer
beef-
and I was like, wait,
the beef
what's
comes
happening
from
right
the
now?
fact that in the very least, the trailer seems to be downplaying what the movie's actually about. And it's based on a book.
Yeah, it's
And
Caroline
there's
Hoover.
camps, and there's like foot battles happening.
Yeah.
That's how we got on the Ryan Reynolds Blake Lively
Well,
discussion.
look, I separate Ryan from Blake for purposes of,
That's sexist, John.
yeah. Oh, look. I did see. I'm sure we talked. Oh yeah, we talked about Deadpool versus Wolverine or Deadpool x Wolverine.
Yeah, I kind of want to
Just
see
a
it in the
delight.
theater, but I'm
Yeah, I mean,
too lazy to
fun.
catch up on the other ones. They
it's
do it
funny.
fun.
I laughed a lot.
Honestly, it doesn't matter. You could just
Yeah.
go.
You'll still have fun.
I'll
Yeah.
tell you what sold me. I guess I don't want to. I mean, it's people know at this point, right? But it's like the one cameo that we were talking about from the X-Men, the X-Men cameo.
Oh, I mean, sure. The there's like an opening sequence where he's killing a bunch of dudes in slow motion using
That is-
Wolverine's skeleton, and it's excellent. Like that's
Okay,
just
that
like
sounds.
it's just worth it for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah. Did you watch Logan? Did
I
you ever
love
see
Logan. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Well,
it's
then you're gonna like that scene.
We did Logan on the
narratively
show.
more important.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't
Wait,
think
does
we
he
did.
like go and grab like that place where he dies? Okay, maybe I need to get on this Deadpool stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
It's so dumb. You should totally get it.
Yeah, it's great.
It's fun.
You'll
we
laugh.
didn't, guys. We didn't even talk about when I can't. Did we do it on the show, or we were talking after the show, right, about the movie? There's a whole joke about Honda Odysseys in that movie.
Yeah.
That's my car. That's what we drive. We love a Honda Odyssey. Yes, it's
Did
a
you
glorious
feel
car.
very seen by
Yeah,
his arc
I was-
with the Odyssey?
Yeah, I was like, yeah, it is great, and I feel appreciated. So it's a good time.
Love it. All right, y'all. That's going to do it. Next week, Alien Romulus. Don't forget you can get a live stream at bloodygoodhorror.com. Nope. At patreon.com/bloodygoodhorror.
BloodyGoodHorror.com still a functioning website as far as I know.
That, not really. Not, I mean,
Well,
it's
you
there.
can go
Oh,
to it.
it
and-
loads.
You can
It
go
loads,
to
yeah.
it. Check out Rachel on the Zombie Girls Podcast Network, GRRLZ. Do you ever want to like promote your day job, Rachel? Because your day job's pretty cool too.
If you want to, if you are enjoying my verbal diarrhea, you should check out my written work at pride.com.
And you get to do like, I mean, you get to go like you
Often
interviewed.
edited.
You interviewed the cast of Cuckoo. I saw the clip.
Yes, yeah, you can go and actually read my review, or you can read. I didn't not my review, my interview with the cast of Cuckoo, which was.
Do you
a ton of
post it as a
fun.
video or no?
I mean, I mean, you don't
I
follow
see him
me
on
on social
Instagram.
media, yeah. but
No,
you'd
I
see-
definitely
yeah.
don't.
Yeah.
Are there
I don't
like
follow anyone
longer?
on
Are there
social media, to
YouTube
be clear.
versions?
I don't. I think maybe I can't remember. I'll forward it to you, John, if you want to see it. It's short. It's like a little 5-minute clip, and we. Like I asked them a tinfoil hat, and they all look confused, and then we talk about him playing the flute and how it turned everybody on the set on.
It's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty surreal. It's like Rachel and Hunter Schafer and Dan Stevenson. Yeah, pretty wild.
Yeah.
You guys are friends now, right?
I mean, in my head, I don't know how they're gonna feel when I show up at their house, but as far as I'm concerned, we're besties.
Yeah. It's good times.
Love it. All right, y'all. Hope you enjoyed the show. We'll talk to you next week.
See yous.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.